welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Chris Moore, and in today's video we got a double whammy, boys. We got Suzuki GSX-S 1000F. So this is normally the naked GSX-S 1000, but this is the F model, which has fairings. Now, we're going to be doing two of these things today that came all the way from Ontario, Canada. They're coming down, have some fun. They're riding the tail of the dragon. As you can see, the bikes are a little dirty because it's super rainy outside, and they've had to haul the bikes in the rain. So please excuse that, but overall, these things are super nice bikes in very good condition. But both bikes are a little bit different, but still very similar. This one has a CS racing exhaust system. The other one has a full titanium VanDemon exhaust system. So we're going to see what these things make stock, and then we're in stock form, stock ECU, and then we're going to flash the ECUs, tune both of them, and see what the differences is between the two exhaust systems. This should be a pretty fun comparison. Stay with us, guys. Here we go. Alright guys, before we get into today's video, let me take a second to tell you about today's sponsor, More Mafia. Yeah, that's right guys. We have sponsored today's video because we are having a giveaway. The 2025 Hayabusa giveaway has begun. This thing is fully hooked up with all the best modifications you can get. Brock's Performance exhaust, DME swing arm, Cormoto wheels, lowered, front, back, left, right, you name it, we got it done. Check out moremafia.com right now. You go pick up a sticker, keychain, hat, t-shirt, anything you want from moremafia.com. It's going to get you entered to a chance to win this brand new Hayabusa. Check it out right now in person, moremafia.com. Here we go, guys. Baseline pull coming up with the CS Racing exhaust. Let's see what our baseline numbers are here. Baseline numbers are in. We're starting out with 143 horsepower, 76 foot-pounds of torque. We got some pretty bad Humpty Dumps here. We're going to try to fix all that. We're going to get rid of the restrictions on top end. I'll talk more about the restrictions here in just a second. Once we pull up our software, Woolits Racing, I'll show you what's holding these things back. All right, so let's get into the tuning on these things and see what is holding it back. So we open up our software. This is a base map here. We're going to open up other maps, and then this is the secondary throttle plates. So this particular bike has one set of throttle plates that works off your hand, and then it has another set of throttle plates that works off the computer, okay? So whatever the ECU is telling the bike, here in this table, that's what the bike is gonna do. So we put the bike into 5th gear, which is where we dynoed it, and lo and behold, here you can scroll down and see that at 10,400 RPMs, the throttle plates are back to 84%, and then they proceed to close to 72% at 11,000 RPMs. Now you can also see that at 5,200 RPMs, we're only at 53% throttle. So and it's like that pretty much in every gear. So we go through, fix that stuff, and make it to where whenever you open up the throttle, it's gonna go a true wide open throttle. Then we're also gonna go through, get rid of the stuff like the FI light or the check engine light for the exhaust servo code, And then we're gonna do the D-cell fuel cut option, which is where when you let off the throttle, normally the fuel injectors turn completely off on the bike, which makes it a brrr, brrr when you give it gas. You know, it's a constant jerky, twitchy on-off throttle, keeping your head bobbing back and forth. Well, we're gonna fix all that whenever we keep that, or whenever we check that option. That's gonna keep the fuel injectors running, spraying a very fine mist, which is gonna give you a much smoother on-off throttle transition. No more head bobbing back and forth as you're riding the bike. Then we're also gonna go through disable the top speed limiter, get rid of all the pesky stuff like that. Fan temps, we're gonna lower them down. Everything is done standard in our ECU Flash. Let me just quit talking and get on with showing you what this is gonna do. Here we go, guys. We're about to make our pulls with the unrestricted ECU. We've tweaked the fueling in a little bit. We're almost there. Let's see what this thing does now that we've got the restrictions off and the fuel is halfway mapped in. We're gonna be able to get more improvements as we go, but let's see what we got now. Much better now that those pesky restrictions are gone. We were at 143.09 when we started. Now we're at almost 150, but look up here at 11,200 RPMs. We went from 138 to 149. So responding really nice to the tuning. Let's keep dialing in this air-fuel ratio, and we're gonna have this thing ready to rip here shortly. GSX-S 1000F number 2 strapped on the dyno. You can see this one has a VanDemon full titanium exhaust system. So this exhaust is much more expensive than the other one. We're gonna find out if it's any better. We finished with 150.94 on the CS Racing. Now we're gonna do the baseline pull with this GSX-S 1000 and see what kind of horsepower we have as a baseline with this one. Anybody care to take a guess or comment in the comments below which exhaust is gonna be better and how much do you think this one's gonna make first rip? Baseline numbers are in. We've got a 147.76 horsepower versus the 150, but look at how much better in the mid-range this exhaust is with no tuning, no nothing. So this is going to be an interesting battle. Is the VanDemon going to be worth the money? We're going to find out. We got the ECU Flash. I've removed the restrictions and I made one pull without you. I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna be blown away at the differences in the results between these two exhaust systems. Let's run it and see what we got. Right off the rip, take a look at the differences between the flashed ECU between the my mind went blank, VanDemon exhaust versus the CS Racing exhaust. Let me try to make this a little easier for you guys to look at. The red line is going to be the CS, the green line is going to be the VanDemon, and you can see some really nice power gains here in the mid-range, and then a good bit of power difference on top end, almost 8 horsepower at 11,500 RPMs. I'm going to keep dialing in this air-fuel ratio, and I think we'd be maybe close to 160 when we're done. Here we go, guys. Time for the final pull with the VanDemon exhaust. Let's see what the final differences are. The final numbers are in, and the differences are very big. 160 horsepower is what we ended up with on this one. I'm gonna minimize this and show you the difference before and after on both bikes right here in just a second. Guys, the numbers on these things do not lie, and big differences in this exhaust. Now, I got it pulled up. We got the final for the CS Racing and the final for the VanDemon. We got blue versus red. You can see here at 11,000, let's just say 300 RPMs. We went from 150 horsepower to 160. And then right here at 6,000 RPMs, we went from 72 to 82. So 10 horsepower in the mid-range, definitely a humongous difference. What do you think about the sound of the two exhaust systems? Now, the VanDemon is definitely louder and definitely a little higher pitch. So whichever one you prefer, we got the differences right here. I guess you would say proof on the screen. I mean, I don't know. What's the words I'm looking for? We got the proof right here in front of you guys. You take it for what it's worth. Choose whichever one you want. If you want to get your ECU flashed, if you've already got one of these exhaust systems or any other exhaust system, your ECU sits basically right here under the gas tank. Got to pop a couple of the fairings off, then you can access the ECU under the tank. mail it to us. We'll flash it, mail it right back to you, and get you fixed up to get rid of all those pesky restrictions that this thing used to have. We can go ahead and pull up, let's just say, the first pull from the CS Racing with the restricted ECU. And overall, you can see the gains are insane once you get rid of those restrictions. And just like that, the two GSX-S 1000Fs are off the dyno. Now they're in here in the shop. They decided to get 520 chain conversion and new sprockets. Now, 520 chain conversion, sprockets say they don't really change, but the 520 chain conversion, less rotating weight, so it's gonna add approximately 2 horsepower to both of them. So these things are gonna be a little faster and a little stronger. What do you guys think? Which one of the exhausts is your favorite, the VanDemon or the CS Racing? There's a good look at both of them. Overall, both exhausts pretty good choice cosmetically, but the VanDemon clearly the winner when it comes to performance, 10 horsepower better. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. We appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.